Good morning, everyone. Afternoon or evening, we're live a little bit early. Very excited to do this. And for those of you who know me, my name is Leslie Flowers. If you don't know me, this is Mind Over Matter Mondays, and we do this every Monday, typically at 11 a.m. Eastern, but I'm trying something different. So we'll see who shows up and who doesn't show up, because typically this is 11 a.m. to noon. Good morning. Oh, it looks like Omar over there on YouTube. So whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, good morning, Omar. So I'm starting a little bit early so that we can give our guest teachers on Mind Over Matter Mondays a little more time, because there's a lot to do in this hour. Mind Over Matter Mondays is all about us learning personal development concepts and their application and the way to begin, and for you to see how all of the guest teachers are teaching the similar concepts, but from their unique perspective, their point of view, and their level of awareness of their own infinite potential. And you, as a listener, will resonate with some or all of these teachers. And the idea here, let me just put this on here. I think I can do this. Give me just a second to do this. This is tall and big. Look at that. This is so cool. So I can see you as you come in. The idea is that you're not going to resonate every week with each different teacher, but you will resonate with some because of your level of personal development, emotional intelligence, and your awareness of your own infinite potential. Now, look, we're all growing as we learn. And so one day something might seem confusing, and the next teacher comes on and shares it in their own unique way, and bingo, you get clear. So we don't take much action when we're confused. And the idea here is personal development, understanding awareness and how the mind works and how much control we actually have by what we think. The sooner that you can learn about these things and apply them, you have to hear them multiple times and you have to be clear about them in order to actually take a step to apply them. So while I have spent over 20 years studying the mind, you know my philosophy, each one of these teachers has invested time. So have you. And what I will remind you, my friends, is how grateful I am to be here with you. This is what I do on Mondays and Fridays. I bring up teachers so that you can resonate with them. And when you're ready to go to work with a mentor or a teacher or a coach, you'll already know who it is you'd like to work with. And so that is the point. And this 15 minutes is for me to tell you how fabulous you are. Before we bring up Dr. Steve Hudgins, you will adore him. He's talking about positive psychology, and he has a very special project he's working on, and I think you're going to love it. You will understand it. You will get it based on what you already know. So be listening for what resonates with you and what action steps you can take. He'll be out in just a few minutes. So let me begin at the beginning, because I can show these. This 15 minutes is for you and me. So if you have any questions, just for me. I'm going to tell you a little story, though, before I acknowledge you, okay? So years and years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I was certified in Silva mind control. There you go, not exactly prepared, right? I was registered and took the advanced course in Jose Silva's mind control program. And you probably know that Mind Valley seems to have purchased it. They are selling it, so I don't know what happened. But this was Jose Silva, who lived next door to one of my former clients in Texas. And in the 50s, he had 2 children and he knew they weren't going to get ahead based on the way the systems work. So he created this method of really stepping inside your subconscious mind. Now, you can do this. Anyone can do this, but it's not something that you do once and you've got it. Just like all of this, you must practice it, right? You have to practice. Repetition is the first law of learning. So I got to tell you what happened this morning. So I had emptied the trash and was trying to get around the trash and broke a toe, the second from the little one, and literally made it go like this. So I immediately lay down and closed my eyes and conjured up what I had done before when I learned this, my own chemical laboratory. I visualized it in present tense that I was there, and there are chemists and physicians there, and I couldn't have pain, right? I was not interested in pain about a half hour ago. And so I took 2 of the chemists and I said, I want you to go down and I want you to pull away the pain from my toe, straighten it out, and then replace it with a healing salve. And so, just like in Who Moved My Cheese, which I recently did a book study on for the 2350 network, there were 2 little doctors, and they took the journey down inside my body all the way down to that toe. And they had the implements to scrape out where it was hurt and red and inflamed. And I'm visualizing this happening. I'm watching them do this. The mind is incredible. And then they took the salve and literally covered that toe with a healing and pain-free salve. Back up to the laboratory, and I opened my eyes and I have no pain. So that's just a fun thing to share with you, that the power of visualization, and Silva's method is used by psychics. It's how you can heal from a distance. It's not that we don't believe these things, because we've seen these things happen. However, just because we don't understand how it works yet doesn't mean it doesn't work. So I thought, well, let me try it out. And so I now have a few minutes to visit with you. My toe is not hurting, and let's go. So this is your time. Omar is here, my wonderful Omar. Omar, thank you so much for doing your Zoom parties and reminding everybody that on LinkedIn we need a break. You can also read these here that are coming in. So if I missed anybody, know that it's not intentional. I want to give Dr. Hudgins as much time, and our guest host. And I wanted to see if you were going to come a little early, and I'm so glad you did, because I get to talk to you a little bit and just be with you. Okay, it's an experiment. I don't know how it's going to work. Omar, noon on Sundays, Do We Really Know Them? Not better than this, but in the same way, getting to people, for you to get to know people off of LinkedIn. What do they do for fun? Where are they from? And here we'll learn some things about Dr. Hudgins and all our guest teachers, because what if they have horses or they have a dog and you have a dog? Right there, there's a way to resonate. So be listening for everything that's said. And one thing I'll say here is, if you're confused by anything you hear, you can ask a question, certainly. We'll see if we can bring it up on stage. We'll come in afterwards and answer your question. But ask your questions. And if you get confused, just let it go, because it'll come up in the next session or the next session. And if you're worried and confused about one point, you will not be able to focus on the next point, which you will get. So this is for you to try on all these, see how they fit. It's a new coat and it's winter. Just see if you like it. So thank you, Omar, for your show Sundays at noon Eastern, and for Zoom Party, your game show that you've been hosting for, I think, 4 years. Very exciting. Everyone connect with each other. And here is Lee Forrester, great Pacific time. That is fabulous. Dr. Lee Forrester is in the virtual wellness event. That's March 20th and 21st, and I'm a part of it. So is Dr. Hudgins. She's a marvelous coach. And Dr. Forrester, thank you for being here. It means a lot for you to be here. There's Sherry Aquiri. Hi, Sherry. Sherry is an administrative assistant. She's the administrative assistant that I got to know when my email got messed up. And everybody else was getting emails except me. Every week she sent me a private message with the link I needed until I figured it out. That's someone you can count on. So thanks, Sherry, for being here. She's in Africa. I can't tell you exactly where. You can post in where you're calling in from. Here's the wonderful 𝙈𝙤𝙉𝙙. I met him a couple of years ago here on LinkedIn, and he's the only one besides my 4 grandchildren that call me Nana. He has come in amazing ways, studied personal development. His transformation, if you knew him 2.5 years ago, is nothing short of spectacular. He's this beautiful, spectacular human being that's really stepping into his own. And boy, what a joy to watch you, 𝙤𝙬. What a joy. And your love, Anna. I think he's in love. And there's Linda Meyer, recently certified coach, specialist in dealing with narcissism. Ever been with a narcissist? She does a wonderful newsletter. You may not have met one yet, or you may have one in your past like I do, but boy, I wish I knew what Linda knew, what Linda has shared with us before I met my narcissist. Well, actually, it's my brother, so I've lived with it all my life, but I didn't understand it. And I do now. And Linda, you've made that so clear. Your newsletter is so revealing. Thank you for being who you are. For all of us, we don't want to look at those things, but honestly, we're all touching those things, don't you think? Every once in a while, our best friend, our next door neighbor might have it. The more we understand, the more objective we can be and responsive, and the more supportive we can be. So I'm so glad you're here. There's Kimberly Lechnick, deep study now in Think and Grow Rich, but her watchword is gratitude, and she's a guest teacher here on Mind Over Matter Mondays, and her specialty is gratitude. Kimberly, thank you so much for over the years for being a supporter to my work, and also for donating your time to help with honing down your concepts. So let me just tell everybody this, that I meet with almost every teacher for at least an hour before they teach, because what I like to do is bring everybody's basic concept down to a very basic level to avoid any confusion. Well, we're very often up here at our level of awareness, talking with other people at our level of awareness, but we could lose people because we could confuse them. And so the idea is to bring you basic concepts that you can hear repeatedly from different points of view until one goes bingo, and you get it and you can apply it. But you won't do it until you're clear. So that's why I spend time working with each person. And I've spent a fair amount of time with my friend Kimberly, really getting to understand her platform of gratitude. Absolutely amazing. Martha is here. Hi, Martha. So good to see you. All right, we're sitting at 11. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep doing this. I'll bring Dr. Hudgins up in 5, maybe 7 minutes. He's in the studio. Hi, Dr. Hudgins. Thanks for getting here. I can see him waving. You can't see him waving. Busy guy. So grateful to have him here. Martha has Connect Impact Hub, which is a nonprofit. And she's all about housing those who are unhoused, giving people that arm up, that leg up, that sometimes that's all they need to kind of get back in the swing of things. And ever since I've known her, that's what she's done. And so thank you, Martha, for being here. It's mighty early, 11, 10, 9, 8. Now it's 8 o'clock where you are. Not so bad. Glad you're here. Thank you. And Sean Michael is here. His show is at noon. This is part of the reason that I started doing this at 1:45 to 11 because I moved the time. His is at noon, and we were running right up until noon. So this way we will be done before noon, or a few minutes before, which will give you time to do whatever it is you want to do next. Sean Michael has Monday Mind Shift. He's got an NLP background, lots of fabulous videos, and he is also a guest teacher. Which reminds me, for all the guest teachers here, please go into your DM. Q2, April, May, and June calendar is wide open for guest teaching spots. So I'd love to have you back, Sean. And now that we're starting a little earlier, it may even be possible. So thank you for your patience with me making the change, okay? Appreciate you. And Bobby Lee Clark is here. I've just recently met you, Bobby. Bobby has money and mindset, and lately I think he's just finished up. You can do a replay, money and marriage. Not my favorite subject, but anyway, he's really great with mindset work, and his hosting partner is a gentleman who's all about finance. So the two of them together have a fabulous show Thursday at noon Eastern for 30 minutes. So please join Bobby Lee. He's been a wonderful part of this community and this family, if you will, of thought leaders. Here is Lisa Fevick. Hi, Lisa. Lisa is the menopause queen. Not that she may have it or not, I don't know. But she's a registered dietitian, and I found out after menopause that there were 100 symptoms. It's a good thing I didn't know, because I might have gotten them all. But there are certain foods that you can avoid eating, or those that you would eat to help alleviate some of those symptoms. Plus, they're generally good things to eat. And Lisa, thank you for your newsletter every week to give us an idea of how to keep a balanced diet. We need you on our team. Notice that each person here has something of great value to share. And I'm so glad you're here, Lisa. There's Coach Carrie. She's new to our community, new to me. And she's she's omnipresent, in case you haven't figured that out. Coach Carrie is everywhere I go. Everywhere I happen to go, there she is, which means she's not following me. It means she's everywhere. So she has a wonderful attitude, and her specialty is coaching around money. And honestly, the fear of poverty, as you know, working with me, that the fear of poverty is one of the top 2 of the 6 basic fears. They're real. So you need someone that will help you understand that it is a fear and you can counterweigh it. And Coach Carrie has a show 6 p.m. Sunday live here on LinkedIn called Clarity from Heart. So thank you for being here. And there's Gabe. No, Gabe, this is not live. You're on a team replay. Hi, Gabe. Gabe Leal and his wife Yvette, Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. They're all about love. They're newlyweds. They're mushy, but they also are very smart, and they're very helpful with communication and here to help you if you're in a relationship with someone you love as a partner, or also, I think most of what they talk about can be with families too. Love between members of a family, although it's a little different, it can be contentious. So Gabe, no, this is a recording, and just mark team replay. I'm glad to know you and so excited about your new shows. I mean, I don't have a partner right now, and I was married for 30 years, but I love his shows. All right, I'm going to go a few more minutes more. Let me try to get everybody in here, Bobby Lee. Okay, and I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to bring up. Yes, say hello to each other. This is the perfect time. Follow each other. You probably already do. Connect. You can have a chat with people. You don't necessarily, I mean, they call it coffee chats. I think, or is that Melissa Houston's 9 a.m. Saturday show? That's Coffee Chats with Melissa. Leah brought up no cell zone coffee chats. Also, Coach Carrie does that too, where you just get on the phone for 15 minutes and get to know each other. All right. I'm slipping right through here. We have, there's Mark Dumar. Hi, Mark. So glad you're here. I don't know a lot about you, but I so appreciate, I know one thing about you, that you are count audible. You're a person who gives their word and shows up. I can tell you that's who you are. Because when you say you'll attend a show, I know you're going to be here if you can. But I also know by clicking attend, it's supporting me. So I don't expect everybody to be here, but I'm always shocked and amazed at how many of you are. The percentages are pretty delicious, which means you're getting what you're supposed to get. All right, let me make sure who is our LinkedIn user. Oh, gosh. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's Roland in Dubai. Hi, Roland. You'll have to come on sometime and tell us about Dubai. You've been coming here for a long time. And I appreciate you so much, Roland. All right, we should be pretty good here. Almost done here. And I know, oh, gosh, here's our wonderful Christy Williams. She's in the 2350 network. That's how I met her a couple of years ago. Christy's in customer service. And she's also a very consistent supporter of all of us in this group and people that I don't even know she supports. That's her unique skill. It's your unique skill. She's kind and loving and quiet and peaceful, but she comes on like gangbusters to support others. That's how you show up for me. Christy, thank you for being here. Then we have 𝙊𝙪 𝙠𝙬, who I've known for at least 10 years. And she is, you see, she's the drone operator coming in from YouTube or through YouTube. She is a digital artist and she is certified drone operator, but there's so much more to 𝙊𝙪. She and her partner have created a program called Integrate Art for teachers and students to learn how to integrate art in every subject in school, which is amazing. And she's broken through the barrier of getting into schools, which is not easy to do with public schools. All right, Sharon Rose Winfield is here, and in 2 weeks she'll be a guest teacher here. We're going to learn about chakras. Very well versed in spiritual intelligence, SQ, which is an area we're getting into. All right, now we've got a very long one here for the opportunity. Excited to see every one of you. And I don't know who this is. It says LinkedIn user. It's probably my machine that's probably causing that. There's Christine Feedy. New job, congratulations, with ASCM. And this is a woman who did her master's in a very short amount of time. She's very good at painting herself into a corner and then elevating herself up off the floor to finish painting and onward with Christine. We call her Queen Feedy. We have Charles Caldwell, who will also be here in a couple of weeks. And we're going to do a transformational technology panel. He's in Hong Kong and spent a fair amount of his time, he's in HR, but a fair amount of his time managing centers in Toronto, Canada for Landmark Education. And that's kind of how we connected, in that I've taken Landmark's work, and that's the way we met. And so I'm so glad you're here. He's in Hong Kong, so it's about 11 or 12 hours difference here. And there's Nicole Ongai-Galindo, publisher of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. And she published Dr. Hudgins' book. He's going to still come out here. I am going to let him out here very soon. And I work with her, and she's my accountability partner. And she has she sponsors my Friday show, which is on Think and Grow Rich at 11 a.m. Eastern. And she has a book right now, in case you want to dip your toe in and write a chapter in the book, We Are More Than Our Diagnoses. I think it closed yesterday, but I suppose that if you reached out to her, she could maybe let you in. I don't know. But in any case, I want to bring up our wonderful Dr. Steve. Hey, Dr. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Leslie. How are you?
I am doing fabulous, and I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so excited, Dr. Steve, about the time we spent together. We spent about an hour together going through your presentation, me to understand more how I could communicate with you. What was your experience of moving through your work, which is quite marvelous, with me, to get really clear on today's presentation. What was your
You know,
experience?
I appreciate the prep time, us talking and collaborating. You know, when I think about the things that I've been through and looking back, it's like I don't have trust issues. I just run background checks on vibes. So, you know, it's I really enjoy the time to be able to make sure that what we're presenting is going to be relatable. So I appreciate that, Leslie.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, y'all, let me just tell you a little bit about Dr. Steve. And Dr. Steve, just sit there and allow me to embarrass you just a little bit. Okay. I had the opportunity, the privilege of editing his book that you'll see a picture of, The Mosaic Families. This is a whole new area of study in families, and not just broken families, but families that remarry and remarry and remarry, right? And the depth of the relationships is so important and so beautiful. So I got to edit that book. And it was right after, Dr. Steve, I had a stroke and I couldn't see out of my right eye. I still can't. And it was the thing that had me break the diagnosis, because when I lost that vision due to a stroke, my first thought was, well, I won't be able to line edit anymore. Well, that was not true. Not at all. So Dr. Steve, as I know him, is a passionate advocate for blended, or what he refers to now as mosaic families, beyond the first blend, one divorce, and then getting together. And he really focuses a lot on equipping men to become better fathers. I love that. He's a military veteran and a therapist and an adjunct professor. And he brings discipline, leadership, clinical insight, and educational expertise to his mission. So I wanted to share that with you. Most of you know Dr. Steve. And so with that being said, I think we've got everybody here. And let's go ahead and begin, shall we, my friend? We'll begin today's presentation. It's a wonderful surprise, so get out your pen and paper. Everybody who's saying thank you, you're welcome. I hope, my intention is that you get who you are for people, because I'm looking for your greatness. So pretty much that's all I see. I want you to know that's who you show up as in the world, which I think is lovely. All right, let's see what happens here. There we go. Now I think we can make this a little bit better. Yeah, we get to be a little bit bigger. So here we are at Mind Over Matter Mondays, every Monday, 10:45 a.m., as long as this works, Eastern. All right, let's start here. So as I told you all, part of it is getting to, this is so cute, honestly. I wish we could do this. I don't know if we can do this any smaller. But anyway, so which are you, and what's going on with these wigs, and why did you select this picture?
You know, Leslie, I think sometimes we just get too hard in our life that we forget to have fun. My father passed away in October of last year, and I had came across this, and I'm writing a book, and I thought, I forgot all about this picture of us just putting on my grandmother's wigs. She, at a time in her life, she wanted wigs because she says, are you embarrassed of me wearing my curlers in my hair when we go garage selling? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. So she learned to put wigs on. So Dad and I, we just kind of thought it'd be kind of goofy that day and kind of put wigs on, and so that kind of leads in more into our topic of what we're talking about today.
Excellent. Well, so let me ask you, did you ever parade in front of your grandmother? Did she see this getup that you two were in?
Oh yeah, that was her taking the picture, and
okay.
I think this is prior to us moving to Japan, because my dad was in the Air Force at the time. So he can be goofy at times. He is well loved by a lot of people.
Oh yeah. And so you were, well, gosh, how old were you there? Let me guess. 14.
12, 13, something like that. This is prior to us going to Japan. So I went my freshman, sophomore, junior year to Japan. So that was a fabulous moment. So this is our kind of a go away type deal, because at the time, it cost a lot of money to fly back just to visit. So we stayed the 3 years there, not even seeing my grandparents.
Wow. Where did you go? Where were you based, or where was your dad based?
Yeah, so it was North Japan, Misawa, which is I really love Misawa because of the ambiance, the crowd that was there, very traditional, sort of like how we push Native Americans into Oklahoma and type of things like that. Japan did the same thing. They're pushed more than Native Japanese towards the northern part. So they're very polite, very traditional. And so, yeah, I experienced a 7.5 earthquake. I experienced 242 inches of snow. So
Wow.
it's crazy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. So let me look at this. All right, before we get started, we're going to do a little break here, and I'm going to run the intro for people, and I'm going to sing a song, and you'll just have to put up with it. How's that, Dr. Steve? Normally, I do this at the beginning, and I should have done it at 11 and didn't do it, so I'm going to do it right now, and you can sit there or turn off your video, but don't. You'll enjoy it, I promise. Let me see if I can get this working here. All right, let me do this. Everybody take a breath, and we are going to do a little bit of fun here. She said, here we go. All right, we're doing okay here. I'm going to sing a little song here, Steve, if you don't mind. Let me turn this off, everybody. Here we go. Happy Monday, everybody. March, you fill up my senses like a night in the forest. Like the mountains in springtime, like when I walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter. Let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you. Let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. Want to sing along with me, Dr. Steve? We'll be done here in just a minute. This is a little interlude, mostly because I love to sing. Let me give my life to you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. And now, I notice you didn't sing with me, Dr. Steve. Well, that's part of the, if you're a teacher here, you have to sing a song. You didn't know that, I know. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Let us begin, shall we? We're really going to get into it now. We've got time. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, like this. Perfect. Hi, OG. OG Cartoon is here. So glad to see you here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. And 𝙊𝙪𝙧. Hello. So glad you're here. All right. I think I've got everybody. And I hope I said that okay. So I want to show you some graphics, and let's let that lead into what we're talking about today. So take it away, Dr. Steve. Lead us into the conversation around positive psychology, but we're looking at the mask. Over to you, my friend.
Leslie, I found it interesting because if you ever said, how are you doing? And if you ever said, I'm fine, and you were absolutely not fine, congratulations, you wore a mask. We all have, right? It's not fake. It's that version you learned how to survive before you learned how to feel. And so when I think about what we're trying to talk about here, I got the concept because how often do we just say, how you doing? It's become more of a hello than just say, you got 30 minutes so I can tell you how I'm doing. So when you think about the mask concept, right, we're not living behind a mask because we're dishonest. We're living behind a mask because at some point, honesty felt unsafe. So,
Yes.
Long before we had words for it, we learned what parts of ourselves were welcome and what parts we created that distance. So we adapted. So we've learned how to stay quiet, stay strong, stay helpful, not because we're weak, but because we're intelligent. Our minds did what they do best to protect the connection. So, as a child, we begin to learn how to hide and stay safe. So this is a concept of the book that I'm creating called The Family Mask. I'm in the conclusion of tweaking the last of it, and so looking forward to your line editing of this book. But then as we get older, it's about, what do we do? What protected us as children can quietly limit us as adults. And so when the mask becomes our identity, we begin to perform rather than to live. And we start telling ourselves small lies about what we feel, what we need, and who we really are. So today's conversation is not about ripping off the mask, because a lot of therapists, I think, talk about, let's rip this off, right? But to me, it's about understanding why the mask formed, honoring it, what it protected, and then learning when it's safe to take it off, because healing does not begin with self-attack. Healing begins with truth, and truth requires safety, Leslie.
Yes. So is it fair to say that, and certainly in my work, the beginnings of the building of the mask is to protect ourselves so that we're not humiliated or embarrassed, because we've all been there. And that leads into the work about our fears, right? And the expression of those fears are real for us. I mean, they really are. What I especially am looking forward to is there's this concept that there's something not good about the mask. But in our conversations, I was delighted to see that there's a way to use it to our advantage as we get older. Yes, it helps us survive, but we know in our studies here that our fears are what stop us from doing the things that we want to do, because we've experienced failure, and then we remind ourselves about the failure experience and we bring it back up in our minds, right? And so every time we do that, it further embeds the perfect faith that we can't do it. And so I'm particularly interested in now this survival mechanism, which I just cast off as, okay, it was survival when you were a kid, but it's limiting you now. But now Dr. Steve is going to show us that isn't necessarily true. And I've been in this for a long time. There is a way to be aware and use the mask as an adult as a method of being diplomatic, but he'll get more into that. Is that a fair statement, what I just said?
Yeah. So, the beginning of the mask is protection.
Yeah.
So it forms because it helps us. It forms because something in us feels unsafe. Maybe it's criticism from a parent, or being bullied as a child. Maybe it's chaos. So that's when the brain does something brilliant. It adapts. So it builds a version of us that stays connected while avoiding pain. But here is where it shifts. It shifts from protection. And if it stays too long, it turns into fear. So what started as wisdom, right? It becomes survival, becomes anxiety. And now we're not just protecting ourselves from what happened, we're bracing for ourselves what might happen.
So look at this question. She sort of knew where you were headed, right? And it can be removed, but is it removed permanently or is it temporarily? And one must continue to do this for quite a while and maybe for the rest of our lives, but not as frequently. Your thoughts?
So when you think about as adults, the goal is not to destroy the mask because it saved you. The goal is to move it from automatic survival mode into conscientious choice.
Yes.
So instead of the mask running you, you learn when to use it.
I love that. I love that. So this is the basically journeying with the mask until you reach your authentic self. And this is a place where I would say that this is what I call agile thinking, and almost meta cognition, because we're actually watching ourselves thinking through the process. And so I love the example of the butterfly. So we're going to get into the content right now, so this is first, you've got the identity, and anything I've learned that our parents or those we love around us, anything they say repeatedly until we reach the age of reason, which is around 7, immediately goes into our subconscious and lives like the truth. Right? Immediately. I mean, because there's no conscious awareness developed yet. So you can't think about it. Do I want to accept this or not until you're at the age of reason? So my experience is, and tell me if this is sound, is that it's the repetition around you and that vibration that sinks right into your subconscious. So by the time you have a conscious mind, you already have preconceived notions. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, because when you think about children, we're a clean slate. And so we're learning our environment. We're learning what's happening. So, it's the mask is that version of ourselves we learn to show the world in order to feel safe and connected. And, the mask helped us to belong when belonging felt fragile. So imagine a child who gets laughed at when they cry. The child might stop crying in front of others. That is the mask. It's not lying, it's protection.
Yes.
And this aligns with the fear of criticism taking form. So that's when you think about what happens as the form begins to mask our identity, so to speak.
And then when we recognize it, that's when we are consciously aware that we have it, and then we're going to learn to understand it. You're going to explain that, help us with that, and then you'll create safety with it, and then you'll have to explain the small honest moments when we get there, and finally you become your authentic self by choice.
Right.
Yes, because you've chosen to let go of the mask or use it to be effective and have influence, but it's not necessarily for survival anymore, right? Right? You don't need it for survival, or do you?
It's not about survival anymore.
Okay, good.
Because, when you think about how that mask formed, it was through repeated experiences, like you said, and repetition. So in other words, when honesty, so certain behaviors like safety or praise, the brain remembers them from what our parents or teachers or whatever has reinforced those behaviors. But when an honesty brought rejection, silence, or punishment, the brain adjusts, right? And these adjustments become automatic. So what started as protection becomes slowly as personality. So in other words, if being quiet stops, yelling in the house, so if a child just stops being quiet, the child learns that quiet is safe. Absolutely. So they begin to say quiet again and again and again. And after years, what happens? I'm just a quiet person. I'm shy. When in reality, their personality was squelched. It was quieted down because of they learned a truth about a reality. They think, I can get my parents to stop yelling at me when I can be quiet. And so sometimes they say, this child's just shy. Really? It'd be interesting.
You should be seen. Children should be seen and not heard. I mean, and women more so, but children in general should be seen and not heard. We all have that. And we heard that repeatedly. So we're quiet. And we may think that we're introverted, but really we've lost it. And we have no self-expression with that kind of fear. It's hard to, and yet, and I want to get into the points here, but I do want to say one thing. The fears that we have as adults are not as deeply embedded with children. They seem to be still relatively free of the mask in the sense that they will self-express. They want something, they're going after it. And as we get older and these fears, these behaviors are more deeply embedded, I think we're less reluctant to take a chance and step out on faith, so that kids, right, their imagination is fertile They don't have as many fears. So they tend to take a leap of faith more. And then over the years, it seems to diminish as the mask plays a bigger role. I don't know. I just threw that out. What do you think?
So when you think about a child, we don't have power. Just like you said, children be seen and not heard. I grew up in the same thing.
Right.
But what happens when there's chaos rejection like this, there's inconsistency. Here's the key point. The nervous system adapts, right? It learns to stay small, quiet, and helpful. Don't want to upset anybody. And that adaptation becomes wired as protection. But let's fast forward 20 or 30 years now. Our environment changes, the people change. But the nervous system is still scanning for the same threat. So now as an adult reacts to feedback is like abandonment. Conflict feels like danger. Disagreement feels like rejection. And so that's where we're having a lot of the rejection in society today is because, oh, you're not agreeing with me. Then, it's a fear. It's not about the moment. It's about the memory.
Exactly. But that memory shows up as real, right?
Yes.
Because we've experienced it. Okay. So let's get into now we have a few things to do. We have 5 points today, and we've got about 3 or 4 minutes for each one. And so I'm going to ask you to take it away. What is the mask? As simply as you can tell us, and we've sort of gotten into it. How did it form? You can reiterate, right? Very simply. And what happens in adulthood if we continue to wear the mask? And how do we recognize it? And then how can we heal it? So take it away with number 1. What is the mask actually?
So if you want to really get on a conversational, just to make it, the mask is a version of you that formed to protect connection when being fully yourself did not feel safe. So let's expand that a little bit more. The mask is not fake. It's adaptive. It's what I call personality adjustments. You made to stay love, avoid rejection, reduce whatever. It is a smile when you're overwhelmed, the silence when you wanted to speak, the strength when you were scared, the independence when you needed help. So eventually the mask is your survival strategy that slowly became your identity.
That's it. That is it. It's a survival strategy. And that's how we see ourselves as real. That's our authentic self, even though it isn't authentic. Yeah.
Right.
That's all we know. Okay. So then now we talked a little bit. So how does it form? We talked a little bit about it, but you share the way you've approached it, because I learned a lot from your first book. And I expect to learn a whole lot more with the second one. So, if I knew nothing, assume I know nothing, how did it actually form? I thought it was repetition of circumstances. How do you share that? How did it actually begin forming?
Well, it's not like a second grade level. You get a paper plate, cut out eyes, you put a face on a paper plate and put it on, right? I wish it was that simple, but it's not. It's that form of repetition like we talked about. It's that moment of pain, right? It's a response from someone that's important, but the body feels a threat. But the brain makes it a rule. Don't do it again. That rule becomes a pattern. That pattern becomes a personality. So if you really want to hone in on the specifics, the mask forms at the intersection of attachment and fear.
Oh, that's really good. Don't go too much deeper than that, otherwise you'll lose me.
No. So to make it simple, right? A mask forms when a child thinks, if I act this way, I stay safe. If I act that way, I lose connection. So what do? They choose safety. So the mask is just a child's way of staying loved.
Oh, I love that. And safe. That is really beautiful. And we all have it. So Nicole had asked this question, but what happens in adulthood if we continue to wear the mask? Because there's a payoff, right? When you wear the mask, it's what is called in transformational technology a racket. And that really confused me. It's a persistent way of being that has a payoff. So if an adult gets that they don't have to act, they don't have to be responsible, right? They can continue to be adolescents or younger than that. What actually happens in adulthood if we continue to wear that mask purposely?
When you think about, well, is it really purposely, or is it
No, maybe
just
not.
an automatic rhythm,
Yeah,
right?
it's a reaction.
Right. So I call it the amnesia type thing. If we keep wearing the mask as adults, we start forgetting who we really are. It's like we say we're fine, but we're not. That's a mask. We try to keep everyone happy. Oh, people pleasing. We get tired, we feel lonely, even when people are around us, because we only see the mask and not the real us. People
That's
see
right.
that, but they're not the real us. So when adults keep the mask on, fear starts making the decisions. We avoid hard talks. That's where the avoidance to talk about confrontation. We stay quiet when something hurts. We work too much. So in what way do we set healthy boundaries for ourselves when we're hiding? And that's what I'm calling our true authentic self. So if you really want to think about it, what protected you as a child can quietly limit you as an adult.
Yes, yes. But talk a little bit about when we were in conversation, the remarkable thing that I got, the epiphany, that light bulb moment talking with you, was that we can use it diplomatically. How does that look, Dr. Steve? So let's say we understand masks, right? We're okay being self-expressed. We've overcome many times our fears. We will always have them, but they are less and less powerful if you continue doing this work and raise your conscious awareness of your potential. So now the question has just gotten too long.
Now, I'll decipher it.
Okay, thank you.
When you think about the mask being used diplomatically,
that's it. Yes.
Right? It's now used as a tool, not as a shield.
I love that.
As an adult, the mask does not have to disappear. It just needs to become intentional. And there's a difference between hiding and being wise. Diplomacy is not deception. It's just a regulated restraint. So when you think about this in a simpler terms, it's like you don't have to say everything you feel to be real. Sometimes being calm and thoughtful is healthy. It's not a mask, it's maturity. So a child mask is, I must stay quiet so they don't leave me. An adult diplomacy as a tool is, I will choose the right time and tone so the conversation can go well. So to me, a child mask is fear-based, while adult diplomacy, the tool of the mask, is value-based.
Oh my God, this is so good, because it's your conscious mind that has the values and standards and ideals, and you're explaining how you can actually outwit and outweigh that fear with some practice. Oh, I just love this conversation, and I'm going back to listen to it again, because within each thing that you've said, there have been like 3 or 4 words that kind of encapsulate, right, what these things are. Now, I would like to do something very special here, and that is to appreciate our sponsor. And by the way, the opening intro that you saw was done by Soul Media Live Productions by Aaron Gibson, and we'll play that at the outro. And our weekly sponsor is Power Thinking Corporation. And we thank you, Stanley Green. He's in the car driving, so I knew he wouldn't be. Let's listen to what he has to say. You can see the banner at the bottom. Goodness. You may go to your app store and download the Power Thinking Corp app for 30 days complimentary. It is a CBT-based personal development program. There we go. Excellent. Okay. All right. Back to you. Special thanks to Stanley Green. And now Power Thinking. He's one of our teachers too. And Power Thinking is now on an app. So go ahead and download it, and we'll give you some instructions by next week or the middle of the week. We'll have a new video, which will tell you now that you have it, what are you going to do with it, right? So I'm excited about that. All right, Dr. Steve, thank you for your patience. We're now, okay, we took a look at all the three. Now, how does one begin to recognize the mask? Because everybody's at a different level of awareness. Everybody wakes up in their own time, right? What are some things that will actually wake people up? Because you can't control them. You can influence. And actually, that's what you were talking about to me. The use of the mask is to influence results, whatever they are. And I think a good leader influences also, not controls, but influences. So the knowledge of a leader to understand what you've been talking about gives them a big edge on how to manage a team or a staff. So how do we begin? We're new, pretend I'm new, and this is all Greek to me. How would I begin to recognize my own mask? What would I say to myself? What would I be thinking to myself? Please.
Well, I mean, you hit on a key phrase for me that just really resonated. We have the Olympics that's been going on. And when you think about practice, you got to start somewhere. And so what does practice do to an athlete? It makes them mature in their process of being able to pass the gold event, so to speak. So maturity is when protection becomes wisdom instead of hiding.
Got it.
So I wanted to make that clear, right? And so to recognize it, it's, first of all, if your chest is tightened, we've gotten away how our body feels sometimes. When your stomach drops, when you suddenly edit the words because of anxiety here, when you say it's fine, but your body says it's not fine. So that's usually the mask that's stepping in. So in other words, it's the mask when you're about to say something honest and you change it so no one gets upset.
That's the fear of criticism or judgment, right? Like, well, if I say this, what are they going to think? Okay. So
recognize patterns, right? So the mask shows up in patterns. You over explain, you over apologize, you laugh when you're hurt. And the key insight here is that the mask feels automatic. It feels fast. It feels like you had no choice. So if you feel relief when you hide anxiety, when you tell the truth, the mask may still be running the show. So when you think about recognizing it, right? The mask forms when you're young, and something about fully yourself doesn't feel safe. Now, how do we do this as adults? Maturity is not ripping the mask off. It's slowing down long enough to ask, am I responding in fear or am I choosing wisdom? Because when protection becomes intentional instead of automatic, that mask becomes a tool, not an identity. So, those are the things that we can take steps in, is oftentimes it's slowing the mental process down, because how reactive are we on a day-to-day basis? I'm hungry. I'm going to go to a fast food restaurant. Where at one time have we slowed down our thought processes and self-regulate? Okay, I can eat a healthy steak at home and I'm going to prepare it instead of going to, where and get chemical-based food. It's not healthy.
Okay, I get that. That's hilarious. I have learned about the physiology and the nervous system. And so this may be new for you, Dr. Steve, because I'm trying to indoctrinate him in my work, right? I'm very indoctrinated in his, because I've read there were 100,000 words in that book. So I'm indoctrinated. But it's interesting to me. Well, now I've lost my train of thought. Forget it. Let's go on to how do we begin to heal? I mean, it's this doing a show is a thing, you guys, right? And I do have a question that Kimberly has asked. If I can find it, I've started. So we do spend 95% of our time not thinking and reacting, right? Now, but here's the thing that I'm learning through research and scientific-based research is that what you're thinking, how frequently you think it, and the way you feel when you think it affects your body and your physiology. Whatever you persistently think, good or bad, will raise your cellular vibration because mind is an activity and it affects your physiology. What's more, it also creates neural pathways. So let's say you get really good at this stuff, right? And you're, punching out all the fear-based stuff and you're being self-expressed and saying what there is to say. The more that you're able to outwit the mask and those old survival techniques, effectively, you feel good. When you feel good, all the proteins in your cells move in another direction and there's a spring in your step. This is Lipton and Brody, two different studies, Bruce Lipton and Richard Brody. So if that's the case, then isn't it not what we're thinking, our mind, how often we think it, consciously or reactively, and the associated amplitude of vibration, positive or negative, affects our body? Because if we feel bad, right, and it also will either deeply carve negative neural pathways, which we ride all the time in our brain, but it's possible for mind to create new neural pathways, new ways of thinking more quickly, right? So I don't know that you ever actually arrive at all positive thinking, but it's an aspiration. What are your thoughts on that I've just shared?
When I heard you put a spring in my step, I'm thinking coffee. I'm not thinking about a cognitive ability, right? It's just coffee that just makes me spring in my step.
Okay.
But when I think about this aspect, right, the mask loses its power the moment you become aware of why you built it. Because you can't heal what you're unaware of. But the moment you see the mask, you'll be reclaiming the self. So again, remember the patterns of behavior. So that freedom begins the second you realize your reactions are echoes, not reality.
Got it. And so how do we begin to heal? With practice? What is the most logical? So we've recognized it. We've done everything in order, right? Linear fashion, because you're not going to recognize it until you become aware of it. So assuming that is accurate. So what is the first step to healing, Dr. Steve? And healing in the sense that disallowing the mask to stop our self-expression, but also to eventually be able to use it diplomatically to influence and lead others.
Three things, right? Notice it. So in other words, catch that moment you change yourself to feel safe. Notice when your body tightens. Notice when you say, I'm fine, but you're not fine. Awareness is step one. Number two, name the fear. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I tell the truth right now? Rejection, conflict, disappointment. Most of the fear is old anyways. And the final thing, I think what you want to do is choose one small truth. You don't unload everything. Just practice one honest sentence, one boundary, one calm truth, right? So when you think about it in a fourth grade simple version, notice when you hide, ask what you're scared of, and say an honest thing. Because healing is not becoming fearless. It's telling the truth. Your body is still learning that it's safe.
That is just beautiful. And look at the time. We have 5 minutes. You've been amazing. I have so enjoyed our time together off here right? I mean, just talking about all of this and me getting to learn, and it's so insightful. I mean, I've just loved it. Now, look, folks, as we're getting down to the end of the hour, thank you so much, Dr. Steve. This is the book that became a bestseller wasn't it last September?
It was September when it came out. Yes.
Yes, and you can get any one of the version. Well, either I guess digital or print. I don't know if you have an audio version yet, but
not yet.
Okay. Oh, well, I do love to do audiobooks, but you know,
It's
AI
433 pages. So
I know, but AI can also do it. And so just click the link if you'd like to grab his book. And here's our call to action as we end right in the next couple of minutes. Both Dr. Steve and I are in the virtual wellness experience. We're so excited. And it's Friday and Saturday, March 20th and 21st. It is a paid event. And we're both involved in it. You can get tickets at creativelivingIdeas.com. And here we are. Look at us. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. There we go. He's doing Mosaic Family at 11 a.m. Eastern on Friday the 20th. And at 2:30, I'm doing How to Rewire Your Brain for Wealth, Health, and Happiness. So, Dr. Steve, any last words here before we say goodbye to you with great thanks? What would you want to leave us with as we walk out and we've got this new fertile soil? It's spring. And, you know, what would you leave us with that you want us all to remember from this session?
So
are you there?
That is the new book. Are you able to see?
Dr. Steve?
So
you're holding it up and
yeah, I don't know what's
there
happening.
It is. Oh, fantastic. Hold that up again. Hold that up again. Hold that up again. The family mask. Oh, I can't wait.
So that's the book design that I created myself. The mask, so it's being built on my experience in Japan, where you go to a kabuki type theater where they put mask on as emotion. And so what we kind of talked about today is in the book.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you. We all appreciate you so much. Please go back into the comments. Kimberly had a question. There were a number of questions.
Sure.
Thank you so much for being here. Please register for something in Q2. We could maybe talk about the mask in another way. And thank you from me to you for the time that you've earmarked to be with all of us today, Dr. Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm moving you into the studio. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Last thing that we're going to do here and look at is this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, big panel, come as you are. It'll be audio. As many people that can fit are coming together. It's celebrating International Women's Day. You can join the studio at 2 p.m. We're going to share stories as women, the good, the bad, the funny, and the ugly. How far have we come? How much further do we need to go? And what is our call to action to get things done? Everyone is welcome. And so with that, I bid you good day, everyone. Go to Shawn Michaels' show next. We are 1 minute before midnight. Before noon, midnight. Listen to me. You'd think I'm in Hong Kong. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for being here early. I hope you've enjoyed today. That is my intention.